Happy Monday, everyone. I saw that my connection disappeared, but now it's reconnected. So, all right, let's hope this stays. How's everyone doing? We're in the second Monday. Yeah, second Monday of October already. I feel like time is flying. So, how's everyone's week starting off? I will give it just another couple seconds to see if anyone joins. And then I'll get right into it. So I'm going to be talking about breast health this evening. And, it's National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is really a self-love and healing after trauma group. But it's so important that, we take care of our bodies, because part of self-love is making sure that our physical bodies are in good shape, that we are healthy, that everything is okay, right? So that's just a normal form of self-love, is showing our bodies some time and attention, giving them that. So I do want to speak about this. This is for both women and men. I know that, breast cancer awareness is usually geared around women, and rightfully so, because women do typically have breast cancer issues way more often than men do. But it does happen. And according to the statistics that I looked up, for men, breast cancer is only, 1 out of maybe 1,000 people. So it's about a 1% chance of a man developing breast cancer. However, when he does develop breast cancer, on average, what I learned is that he tends to live 2 years less than women do. And that's for two reasons. One, typically he realizes later on, at a later stage, that he has breast cancer. And two, medical treatment is not a one-size-fits-all solution. And just like women have been discriminated against when it comes to things like heart disease and having heart attacks by science, right? And they've been treated like men were treated, and it, didn't work out so well for women. The reverse is also the case for men. Whereas typically treatment for men of breast cancer is treated the same way as for women, but men's bodies are a little differently done, they're a little different. So, maybe having the same treatment setups may not be the most beneficial for a man as they are for a woman. So that's also another reason why perhaps men have a less chance of survival. So anyway, I guess I'm going to get right into it. So I am going to share briefly some things to look out for in terms of your breasts. This can apply for both men and women. And also, I'm going to talk about breast self-examination. And this may be information that you are familiar with, but maybe someone else that is not. So, I never want to take it for granted that, just because you're a woman, these things and are in this group, or just because you're a man, you know these things. So, I do feel strongly that part of our self-love is to take care of our bodies. So, I think I'm going to start with just giving some signs or some symptoms for men that I found when I looked up. And then the list is a little bit longer for women, although I'm sure it could apply in both scenarios. So one thing that men should pay attention to is if they have any lumps appear. And the lumps apparently for men are typically painless. So even if the lump is not painful, but you're a man and you discover a lump, that's something that you want to go see your doctor about. I know you guys are, tough and you like to just power through things sometimes, but, go have it checked out. Also, thickness or thickening of the breast. You know, the skin feels a little thicker, a little harder maybe. And the nipple on your breast or the skin around your breast may start to change. It may start to change color. Or things may pucker a little bit, like your nipple may start to pucker. Just, you know, if it starts looking a little different and a little weird, you know, again, you would want to ask someone. And then also, if you start to have discharge from your nipple, also not a sign to be ignored. It could be nothing, of course. Anything, there's just like freak things that, you know, our body just goes through sometimes, but you want to have it checked out. Now, some other things that I saw as symptoms when I was just doing a general search, and you know, these may also apply to men, but the article I was reading was written for women. So itchiness, like, so if your breast is itchy, and I'm not talking about you just have a random itch, you know, once a month or something and you just like scratch, but you know, like it's a common itch. Or if your breasts become sensitive to the touch, you know, that could be things like a burning sensation or an aching or heavy feeling as well. Also, if your breasts start swelling, you know, it is normal, right, around our time of month, ladies, right? Sometimes our breasts get a little more tender and, you know, they may, you know, swell because our body does change during our menstrual cycle. But, you know, I'm talking about you're just noticing overall some changes happening in your body that are not the normal routine that your body goes through on a monthly basis. Also, discharge from nipple, dimpling of skin, and if your nipple kind of turns in. Also, lumps. So it could be under your breast, or sorry, instead of just on your breast, it could be under your armpit or even up by your collarbone, because cancer sometimes can be weird, and so it can affect other related areas of the body. And actually, sometimes, so I actually had a story. This was a long time ago. This was way over 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. So I woke up one morning and I had a lump underneath my armpit, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have breast cancer. And I was freaking out. It was red and it was painful. And so I made an appointment immediately for my gynecologist, and she was unbothered by it. She's like, oh, it's just your deodorant. I was like, wait, my deodorant did that? So she's like, yeah, don't worry about it. It will go away. And I thought, I should worry about this, because why is my deodorant causing me to get this big cyst underneath my armpit that's red, it was really painful. And the guy that I was dating at the time was a little bit more into health than I was in my early 20s. And he was like, you know, Beth, your deodorant is actually really toxic, and you can get all natural deodorants. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, you know, just go to a health food store and get a different deodorant. He's like, you can use salt or whatever. For a while I did use salt. Now I use limes. I just use straight limes. I do believe there actually are studies that have been done. I'm not sure whether or not there were strong links or not, but I know that there have been studies in the past based on deodorant use and the ingredients in it, and it's linked to breast cancer because like our armpit and our breast is so close to one another. So given my family history and everything with, you know, I spoke a little bit about it last week, you know, with my aunt passing from her battle of breast cancer, when I found out that my deodorant was doing this to my body, I just canceled deodorant. Deodorant was canceled. I have not used traditional deodorant in like over 20 years. So, yeah. And it, you know, there's so many other alternatives out there. So I actually would just give that little plug as, you know, a preventative for both men and women. Something to consider to just keep all of, you know, our body healthy. So that was my little rant off topic. The other thing that's important to note is that sometimes there is no physical change, especially if the breast cancer is in like a 0 stage or a stage 1. There may not be any noticeable change that we can find when we stand in front of the mirror and look at ourselves. Or even just, look down at ourselves when we're in the shower or getting dressed or whatever. There may not be any changes. So it's important that we also, both women and men, do self-examinations. And there's different guidelines and recommendations for mammograms. I don't think you have to go crazy with it, but, I think typically, once a year, right? And sometimes even sonograms can be done. I had a cyst on my breast at one point, and mammogram did not show it. It didn't really show clearly what was going on there. And so as a result, my gynecologist said, I'm going to order you a sonogram to have this looked at. And it appears like it's a cyst, but we really want to make sure that it's really just a cyst. So yeah, as it turns out, my cyst just kind of hangs out there. It's benign, thank God. But when, sometimes a mammogram or, that's actually how I found the cyst, was a self-breast examination. And so, the mammogram wasn't clear enough, so then a sonogram. So there's different ways that, you can go about having your breast health checked. But all right. So the step 1, there's a couple steps for doing this. So you are going to, with nothing on, in your birthday suit, stand in front of the mirror. And I spoke about it a little bit last week. It's good to just stand in front of the mirror and just compliment ourselves and admire ourselves, just for our self-confidence and our own self-talk and our internal dialogue, so that we can, get rid of some of those external dialogues that, come at us by society or social media or family or, a significant other in the past who may have been abusive or whatever. So it's good anyway to just look in the mirror and, compliment oneself. But in this case, you're going to stand in front of the mirror and you're going to start just having your hands gently down by your side. And you're just going to, examine and look to see that everything looks the way it always has looked, that there's no changes to, your nipples, the breast size, shape. One breast doesn't look strangely different from another. No one's symmetrical perfectly, but, in general, you want to check every month to make sure everything's continuing to look the same, consistent. Then you're going to want to also look and see how things look when you raise your arms above your head. And then the last is your hands on your hips, and you kind of, look with your shoulders back, and then, you examine yourself to make sure that everything is looking like it always does, that there's no changes. Then you're going to also, a lot of people do this in the shower because it's easy when they're standing up, they're just like right there. But you can also do a self-exam either standing up and lying down, okay? Because it's 2 different angles from your breast. So standing up, you're going to use, your first 3 fingers, you're going to start near your nipple, and you'll just in circular motions go outward. You want to even check, especially even if you're a man, you want to go all the way up to your collarbone, also for women too, but I saw for the men, it said all the way up to the collarbone and all the way down to your lower ribs. So it's really this whole span that you're doing. So if you're on your left breast, you would use your right hand. If you're on your right breast, you use your left hand. I'm breaking it down. I'm just going to assume that no one, I'm sure you all know this, but I'm just going to assume like I'm talking to people who have not heard this before, because I just really don't know where you all are at, and I want you guys to be healthy. So yes, I just broke it down, which hand to use for which breast, whatever. So yes, you're going to actually do it with 3 different types of pressure points. The first time you'll do very gently, the second time kind of more medium, and the third time, you're not like abusing, beating your body up, but firmer, okay? And you do a circular motion, right? That way you can just kind of see, because sometimes the lump, if you do find a lump, and that's actually my aunt, that's how she found her lump. It was not the mammogram. She had mammograms. It did not show it for whatever reason. And she found her lump through a self breast exam. So I really feel very strongly. And like I said, even me, that's how I found my cyst that I had when I was 25. Yes. So yes. So I highly, I'm a big fan of this breast exam. So I highly recommend that you do this every month. It's recommended. And so that is that. Those are the tips that I wanted to share this evening with you guys. Again, this is for both the ladies and the gentlemen, because, you know, we all need each other. And, you know, what would the world be without healthy women? Not so good. But also, what would the world be without healthy men? Not good. We really need each other. So yes, that's why I have decided it was important for Breast Cancer Month to speak both for men and women. So if you guys have any questions, I am definitely not a doctor. I am definitely not a nurse. You know, I've had, you know, experiences from my family, and then my own personal experiences, which thank God have been fine in the end. But you know, you're always welcome to reach out to me, and I am always happy to support you as best as I can. And yes, so have a wonderful rest of your Monday evenings. And I do like keeping these short and sweet because, you know, then I know we're all busy. So you can get the information and then apply as you see fit. All right, I'm just going to look over my notes. Like quickly. Nope, that's it. I got everything. All right, have a good night, guys. Peace.